She told me, "You should trust me more," but I found her secret calendar with dates marked for him. I couldn't breathe. My throat tightened, and for a moment, I thought I might pass out. My hands were shaking as I stared at the calendar, the one I'd found buried under a pile of old receipts and loose papers in the back of the drawer she always kept locked. The dates were circled, red ink, bold and deliberate. 2 weekends in a row, each marked with the same initials, JR. JR. James, her coworker, the guy she'd been spending more and more time with. She'd insisted they were just friends at work, that nothing was going on, but seeing those dates next to his name made everything click in a way I couldn't ignore. A pit formed in my stomach, and the heat of frustration rushed to my face. I felt sick. I had always trusted her. Always. But this was something I couldn't unsee. I wasn't supposed to be snooping around in her things, but I couldn't help it. Over the past few weeks, I'd noticed subtle changes. Little things like how she started going out more, telling me she was catching up with friends but never specifying who those friends were. Or how her phone would always be face down when we were together, and when she left, she'd make sure it was charging in another room, out of sight. I was starting to feel like I was losing her, and when she said, "You should trust me more," I took that as an opportunity to believe in us again. But it was a slap in the face. My pulse was thumping in my ears as I sat down on the edge of the bed, still holding the calendar. I knew I had to confront her about it, but I didn't know where to begin. I kept thinking back to the last argument we'd had. She was getting defensive, insisting she had a right to her own space, her own time. "Why don't you trust me?" she had said, her voice soft but sharp, like a knife wrapped in velvet. But now it wasn't just about trust. It was about something much deeper. Was I overreacting? Or had I been too blind to see what was happening right in front of me? The door creaked open, and I heard her footsteps approach, light but deliberate. I shoved the calendar under the pillow quickly, my heart racing. I couldn't let her see me like this. "Chris." Her voice was tentative, cautious. She was standing in the doorway now, her eyes flicking over to me. "Are you okay?" I tried to steady my breathing, but it felt impossible. "We need to talk," I said, my voice rougher than I intended. Her eyes narrowed slightly, and I could see the hesitation in her face. She didn't answer immediately, but she stepped inside the room, shutting the door softly behind her. "About what?" I hesitated, then finally spoke. "About you and James." Her expression flickered, just for a second, but it was enough. I saw it. The way her posture shifted, the way her hands fidgeted nervously by her sides. It was all I needed to know. Something was off. She wasn't as innocent in this as she wanted me to believe. "What about James?" she asked, trying to sound casual, but there was an edge to her voice now. I could feel the weight of the question pressing down on me, a lump forming in my throat. My mind raced, but I forced myself to speak slowly. "You said you were just friends, but..." Then I found your calendar. The dates. The weekends marked for him. Her face went pale. For a long moment, she just stared at me, like she was trying to come up with something to say, anything to defend herself. But there was nothing. No excuse. No explanation. "You went through my stuff?" she asked, her voice a little too sharp. I stood up, the anger I'd been holding back spilling over. "It's not about that," I said, stepping closer to her. "It's about the fact that you've been lying to me. And you've been lying to yourself, too, if you think I can just ignore this." She flinched like I'd slapped her, and for a second, the vulnerability in her eyes made me want to take it all back. But I couldn't. Not after everything. Not after I had just seen her betrayal written down in black and white. "Chris, it's not what you think," she said, her voice shaking. "James and we've been talking a lot, yes? But it's nothing. I swear. It's just work stuff. You know how he is. He's always pushing me to join in on team events, and I didn't want to disappoint him. But that's all it is. Just work." "Work?" I repeated, feeling my blood boil. "You think I'm stupid? Do you think I don't know what's really going on here?" Her eyes dropped to the floor, her lips trembling as she bit them. She was caught. I could see it, and I hated myself for wanting to believe her even just a little bit. "I don't know what to say, Chris," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I never wanted to hurt you. I swear." but I've been so confused lately. I don't know what I want. The confession hit me like a freight train. She had been confused? After everything we had built, all the years together, she didn't know what she wanted? I felt like someone had ripped my heart out, and I couldn't breathe through the pain. You don't know what you want? I repeated, the words thick in my mouth. You've been playing me for a fool while you make plans with him, and you don't know what you want? How am I supposed to believe that? I saw the tears forming in her eyes then, and for a moment I was paralyzed. I wanted to pull her close, to hold her, to make this all go away. But the truth was already out there. The truth had already shattered whatever we had left. I love you, Chris, she said softly, taking a shaky step forward. I do, but I can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's real anymore. I could feel my chest tighten again, the pressure building, but I pushed it all down. I wasn't going to beg for her love. I wasn't going to plead for something that clearly wasn't mine to keep. I think we need a break, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Her eyes widened, and she stepped back, as if I had slapped her. What? No, Chris, please don't do this. But I held up my hand, cutting her off. I need space, Amelia. I need to figure this out. I need to figure out me. And with that, I walked out of the room, leaving her standing there. She didn't call after me. She didn't stop me. I don't know if she was relieved or if she was just too numb to say anything. But I knew one thing for sure. The life we had built together had just crumbled. I didn't know if we could ever rebuild it. I didn't know if I could ever trust her again. I just knew that everything had changed. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't know where to go from here. Part 2. I didn't sleep much that night. The silence in our apartment felt suffocating, even though I knew she was still here, somewhere, probably curled up in bed with her own thoughts. I couldn't bring myself to go back to the bedroom. I didn't want to face her. Not yet. It felt like the last sliver of trust between us had been shattered beyond repair, and I wasn't sure what to do with that. I spent most of the night sitting in the living room, staring out of the window. The city below felt so distant, like a place I didn't belong anymore. I kept thinking about everything, about us, about her, about the way we had been. All the little moments that had once made me feel like we were a team. Now they just felt hollow, like ghosts of a life I no longer recognized. I kept coming back to one thought. How had I been so blind? The morning brought no clarity. I made myself coffee, though I had no appetite. I forced myself to shower, though every minute felt like an eternity. My mind kept replaying everything she'd said. I don't know what I want. I never wanted to hurt you. The words kept echoing in my head, but they only made everything feel worse. It wasn't the I don't know what I want that hurt. It was the fact that I had to ask. I had to question her, and I had to find answers that I should never have needed to look for in the first place. It was nearly noon when I heard her moving around the apartment. The sound of her footsteps felt like 1,000 pounds of weight, dragging me towards something I wasn't ready to face. When she came into the living room, her eyes were red. She'd clearly been crying. I hated seeing her like this, but there was a part of me that felt almost numb to it. I had seen the same sadness in her eyes last night when I walked out of the bedroom, and it hadn't changed. Chris, she started, her voice hoarse, like she hadn't slept either. Can we talk? I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to tell her to leave me alone, to give me the space I had asked for. But part of me, the part that still cared for her, even through all of this, wanted to hear her out. I wanted to believe her when she said she loved me. But how could I trust her again? I don't know what to say. Amelia, I finally muttered, feeling the words slip out of me without control. You've already said everything. I've seen it. Your calendar, your plans with him. I don't need to hear more of the same. She shook her head, tears falling down her cheeks again. I swear it's not what you think. You have to understand, I never wanted it to go this far. I was confused. I didn't know what I was feeling. But I never stopped loving you, Chris. Not once. The words were supposed to comfort me. They were supposed to make me feel like maybe we could fix this, that maybe I had misinterpreted things. But all I could think about was the dates in red ink on that calendar. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But I couldn't shake the image of her sneaking around behind my back, hiding things from me. It didn't add up. You are confused, I said quietly, my voice barely above a whisper. But it's not because of me. You're confused because you've been lying to yourself. You've been telling yourself that what you're doing with him is okay, that I wouldn't notice. And maybe I didn't at first, but I see it now. She stepped forward, reaching out for my hand, but I pulled away. The rejection stung her, but it didn't sting as much as the betrayal had stung me. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry for all of it. For hiding things from you, for pushing you away, for making you feel like you weren't enough. But please believe me when I say I never wanted to hurt you. I've been so selfish, and I didn't know how to fix it without making things worse. I looked at her for a long time, trying to see if there was anything left of the woman I had fallen in love with, the one I had trusted with everything. She looked so broken, so lost, that it almost made me want to hold her again. But I knew better now. Trust wasn't something you could just patch up with apologies. I don't know how to fix this, I said, shaking my head. I don't know if I can fix this. You've already made your choices. I don't know if I could trust you again. Her face crumpled. She dropped her hands to her sides, and for the first time, I saw her completely vulnerable. It wasn't the kind of vulnerability that made me want to comfort her. It was the kind that made me feel like a fool for ever believing in the love she had promised me. The love that, in reality, seemed to have faded long before I caught on. I don't want to lose you, Chris, she whispered. I don't want to lose us. I need time to figure things out, but I want you to know, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you like this. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But I had been here before. The promises, the words that sounded so good, so right, and nothing ever changed. This time, I wasn't sure I could believe her anymore. You've had time, Amelia, I said softly. And so have I. I don't know what to do with any of this anymore. I felt like I was losing myself. All the love I had given, all the time and energy I had invested in this relationship was slipping through my fingers. I had no control over it anymore. And as much as I wanted to salvage what we had, I realized that I couldn't keep holding on to something that wasn't even mine to hold. I think I need to go, I said quietly, standing up from the couch. I think we need some time apart. I need time to figure out what's next. And I think you do too. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Instead, she just nodded, her eyes welling up again with tears. The room felt too small for the both of us, and I couldn't stand to be in it any longer. I grabbed my keys from the counter and turned to leave. But before I opened the door, I looked at her one last time. I don't know if we can come back from this, I said, my voice tight. But I need to find out who I am without you. And you need to figure out who you are without him. With that, I stepped out into the cold, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I took a deep breath and walked away.